Good.
Yeah.
Open. There you go.
I mean, like a four-wheeler.
Right, like a four-wheeler.
That's a motor.
Hello, my name is Tyler Buck, founder of Sensible Soils. If you find the following video helpful, you enjoyed it, anything, please subscribe. It really helps us out. If you live within our delivery range, please visit our website and sign up for local fresh eggs and fresh produce delivered to your doorstep every week. If you don't live within our delivery range, please share this with people you may know or people that might live within our area. Anything you can do helps us get our message out and helps us make this world a better place. This is our David Bradley 5752. On the front here is our Briggs & Stratton. This is the original engine. This is what the previous owner couldn't get working. He said probably something with the carburetor. He replaced that magneto. Did a whole bunch of work. He was a young kid. He did a great job working on it. Did a very nice job on the resto. Repainted it. Looks really sharp. The intention was never to use this Briggs & Stratton. It was either to use a new like Harbor Freight engine or to replace it completely with electric. Electrical components have come down in price quite a bit over the years. So the cost for me to put a new engine on would be about $200, $250. And for me to replace this with electrical, it costs a little bit more. Somewhere around $450, $500, I think. All said and done though, this is a solid, well-built machine, and I don't have to touch the drivetrain. I don't have to do anything on with the wheels themselves. They adjust, they work well. The only thing that needs to be fixed is the engine itself. So as we pull off this Briggs & Stratton, that's going to be the point where we put our 48 volt electric motor, and that's going to have a chain on it, and that chain is going to connect to our pulley in the back. So that pulley is going to come off, and we're going to replace that with a larger sprocket. And on the top, gas tank is no longer needed, and my battery is honestly about that size. So one of two things came into mind: either I pull the gas tank entirely, or I cut that gas tank in half and put the battery itself in there so it's protected. For the short term, I'm just going to pull that gas tank off and we'll attach the battery in place of that gas tank. So first things first, we're going to unbolt this Briggs & Stratton, we're going to pull off this pulley and pull off this gas tank. Alright, 1/2 inch on the top, 9/16 on the bottom. And since I've never done this before, this is going to be kind of a learning curve. We'll see how this goes. We're going to reuse these though, because when we put the new motor here, we're going to use those to bolt it in place. So after we take these bolts off, we're going to take this throttle off. Throttle's still connected here to our carburetor. Not something we'll probably reuse, but we'll just disconnect it for the time being. Probably gonna happen here. Let's see. I don't want to drop this thing suddenly. Okay. Perfect. So this is an interesting piece here. This actually appears like it slides a little bit. There's actually a little bit of movement. I'll show you from the side. So this will probably help us out because we'll be able to move this forward to kind of accommodate where our motor should be. So that's really handy to have. Here, let me show you right now, in fact. So you can see this actually, we've got a cutout here on the inside, and it appears, I don't know this for sure, but it appears the idea was this could slide back and forth, maybe to accommodate different engine sizes. So we'll try and keep everything in place, keep it how it was. But it does appear we've got a little bit of adjustment we can make if we find we're too far off. So our next step here, we're going to take this gas tank off. So we got a few more bolts. And then we're going to take this pulley off. And this pulley is held in place just with a screw there. So this will pop off. This is a 5/8. This is a 5/8 shaft. So I bought a 5/8 to a 3/4 sleeve. We'll need that in order to get the sprocket in. So 9/16 and a 5/8. These David Bradleys are really gorgeous machines. They're a little bit large. Some people don't like them because the size. In our area though, David Bradleys are much more common than other brands. You might find some Simplicities, Waterloos. Most popular though in a lot of southern territories is Planet Juniors. So we're gonna take a break, stop by the store, get some penetrating oil. We're a little stuck here on this pin. This pin is holding on this this clutch assembly. So we tried driving it out with just a cold chisel. It's not moving. So we put some penetrating oil in place. Now I'm going to end up pulling this tire off, and we're going to put a little bit of heat on this. Hopefully we can expand it with a benzomatic torch. We'll heat it up, let it cool down, and hopefully it'll help the pin get loose so we can drive it out. Probably put some more penetrating oil in there a few times. Ultimately we're gonna get this thing off. It's just a matter of how long it's gonna take. So this sat overnight. This is actually day number 2 where we're working on this. This is a 3/4. All right, wheels out of the way. Now we've got a little bit more space to work with. So we're gonna get the torch out now. I'm trying to heat this up. We're going to let this cool for a little bit. We're going to spray a little bit more penetrating oil. Looks like we might actually have open up a little bit of a hole here to get that oil in there. So we're going to do that now. We're just going to let this rest for a little bit. And hopefully when we come back we'll be able to drive it out. We don't want to drive it right now or else we'll most likely destroy the pan, make a mess. So we'll let this cool down naturally. This is a PB penetrating catalyst. So this is kind of what the experts use for a lot of this stuff. Took my gloves off just a hair or two early. I want to get the other side as well. So you can get some of that back and forth. Get in that hole we see. This side, you almost can't see the hole here at all, so honestly I don't know if it's going to do anything for us. We can hope. And since we're connected to the shaft here, we'll try and get a little bit in the shaft itself. Might help, might not, we'll see. Let's be a little liberal on this stuff. This side, I think, is where we're going to have the most success trying to get it in there. So we'll come back in a little bit and see how we do. We're back here after letting this cool down for a little bit. Ended up actually having to torch a little bit more, heat up this because the pin still just was not coming loose. Used a little bit more of the PB. Really just kind of sprayed it all around, right? Inside, outside. Anywhere that I thought that maybe we have some sort of connection. And I wasn't quite sure the size of the pin because the opposite side was still really jacked up. I ended up breaking 3 of these chisels. I've had these things for years. And that's not a small chisel. What is that? That's well, it's really a punch. It's a 3/16 punch. So, last one I had that was close to the right size, 1/4 inch punch. And what do you know? We'll start getting that pin out. So we're going to nail that thing out the rest of the way. And finally get this pulley clutch assembly off. Slowly but surely we're getting out. Unfortunately, this punch is now getting wedged in there a little bit. So we gotta be careful. Let's see. We can now get that out. The irony will be if I get this thing stuck in there too. After all this work. Well, still got this punch stuck in there. It's a shame because I would like to use the smaller punches. Alright, well, I'm going to have to go get some pliers and pull this out. Alright, we got this punch out. I really don't want to get that punch stuck again.
Look what we found.
It's in good shape.
Ooh. Can you put the necklace on me?
I'm concerned. We'll give it a shot. Let's see what happens. Last chisel that fits. That's not perfect.
Get it, because our hands are all.
Actually, you know what? I got a better idea. I've already got one of these broken chisels. We can probably drop that guy in there. It won't get stuck. Aha! Mother of invention here. Let's see if we can hold that thing steady. Get a good tap on it.
Red, left.
Lefty. I have a big red.
Really can't get a good support on that. I got one chisel that's a little bit bigger. Might work. There we go, look at that. We're getting there. All right, look at that.
Did you get it?
70 years. Get that pin out. I win. I gotta wait for the birds to eat it. Look at that. Yeah, good job. This is the blind bird. Don't eat it. That's my finger too. All right, look at that. We're out. Can I help you?
It's a second tire.
No, it's a reef.
Ow!
Door. Stop.
Oh.
Poor Lefty. She's so blind.
You're a ridiculous bird.
Ah, Lefty. You're a pity, you know. Here, have some kibble instead of Tyler's finger or bolts.
What do we think there?
Those are much better
Woo!
options. Lefty.
Man, that was tough. You can see it. Can you see my finger bleeding it from the bird going after me? Oh well. Hold on.
I'm gonna hold
See if I can get you.
Red.
There it is. That's it. That's what it's holding in. I was told that this is a different size, but it really looks like it's the same size. So,
You can eat while holding, you know.
ended up using 1/4-inch pin punch. Man, this is I don't know how long I've had this one. 1/4 inch, but the 1/4 inch got stuck. So we ended up using this 3/16 punch that really worked. Broke the tip off it, but we got driven out there. So now we are good to remove this pulley assembly, keep the shaft from the transmission, and get our electric motor installed and put the new sprocket on for a chain driven transmission.
Lefty, go ahead.
Exciting stuff. One. Look at that. There it all comes. Success. So now, we've got our clean slate. Took a while, but we got it. So now that we got the pulley assembly off this shaft, we want to use this shaft to sprocket adapter. Now, when I originally ordered this, this is the wrong size for two different reasons. The first reason being, when I measured this shaft, the assembly was still on here, so I thought this was a 5/8. This doesn't look like a 5/8, and it doesn't quite look like a 3/4. This is a 5/8 to a 3/4 sleeve. My intention was to put this sleeve over the 5/8 in shaft, then put that on through our sprocket assembly here. That would give us a nice tight fit. We'd be in good shape. We'd have the key. Be perfect. Unfortunately, this is not quite 3/4. It is not quite 5/8. It's kind of a hair between the two of them. Speaking of hair, I had one in my mouth there. So what we're going to end up doing here is we're going to put this directly on here. We're going to tighten this for the time being. It's not going to be a perfect fit, but it's going to be pretty close. The downside here is I really want to get this key in. And you can see the key is right there. Problem is my key is just a hair too thick. And then our sprocket, here's the second point I made a mistake at. None of these holes line up. I thought I'd have a good assembly. What we're going to do here is, if you can see, I put some Sharpie on here. We're going to drill each of these holes onto our sprocket. That's going to give us a connecting point to our 4 large holes here. By doing that, we're going to be able to attach these two together on here, and from here we're going to be chain driven. And this is a bicycle chain. And that bicycle chain is going to connect to our electric motor here. So our electric motor is going to sit where the old Briggs & Stratton was. And that, obviously our holes don't line up there. We will take the electric motor, since this is still a prototype, we're going to drop it right onto a 2x6 connection, or a 2x6 piece of lumber, and connect that 2x6 via those 4 holes, bolt it onto here. And because we've actually got a good shaft here, we'll line up the electric motor first where we need to go, and we will position that sprocket so we have a perfect alignment. So when that's all done, we're gonna be in great shape. And this chain is the wrong size, frankly. We're just gonna take a pin out, change the size of it, and that's about it. Very easy, very easy. So hopefully we can get this motor, this sprocket connected today, and then our next step is going to be playing with the turkeys again. Feisty turkeys. once we have this connected, we'll have our controller, and we'll hook our controller up, ultimately connected to the battery. We'll actually see if we can get some power going today. Hopefully we can. If not, worst case, we'll do that another day. See how feisty this bird is? So, I'm going to go off screen, drill out these holes. So we got our 4 holes drilled through. They're not perfect. We tried removing some of these burrs with some filing. I've got these 2 in so far, and we're pretty much center there. The reason I only did these 2 is on the other side, this is where our shaft gets screwed in place. So we're going to screw this into the shaft first, and then we're going to drop these 2 bolts in and secure it. Overall, we are about as centered as I can get us just from eyeballing, honestly. This will get us through what we need right now. Long term, we should probably take a look, figure out if we can find a machined sprocket and an adapter plate onto our shaft. That would be the best solution. Since we're not in that position today, use what you got. So, next step here for us, we're going to be putting it on the shaft, and we'll tighten that in place. And once we find exactly where we need to put this shaft, how far on the sprocket the sprocket has to go on this shaft, and we figure out the location of our motor, we'll then put these 2 remaining bolts in place. Now, I don't remember if I said, but these 2 holes, we drill those out to be about 3/8. So on here, they're 3/8. And from the side we want to go on, I think we'll have more protection if we go on like this. Oh, I don't quite like that. That doesn't give me a lot of clearance. I'm going from here. And again, we're just putting this on temporarily. We'll get the exact spot here a little bit later. If you're watching, you probably noticed my crucial mistake here. Labeled these and then put them in the wrong holes. And I need this to be countersunk because these bolts are not long enough otherwise. In case you're wondering, these are the pardoned Thanksgiving turkeys. They're the ones that were friendly, or they just got saved for one reason or another. Luckily, my superpower is ADHD, and I don't even realize these things are after my eyes. Okay. Look, that's pretty good. That's not going to go anywhere for our testing purposes. So next step, bring this guy out. Now I actually think we'll be able to line that up pretty well. This shaft looks like it's screwed on a little bit out of alignment. Let's get that in place. So I actually like how that's set up. I think we'll be okay. We'll adjust that shaft, or adjust this sprocket on the back side, and we'll get this in place. Then I'm just gonna try to make this work with some wood screws. Definitely not what I recommend long term. That gives me a chance to test it out, make sure it's working. Huh. Very pretty. Okay. Gonna adjust the sprocket and get this chain off. The missus just asked if these turkeys had let me alone lately. The answer is no! They won't leave me alone. They're just nosy. Okay, so we have to remove one more link here. And I was using this chisel broke. It's okay. I'm just gonna have to buy more chisels here. That starts knocking the pin out. We do that on top of a nut so it's got some space. Alright, took a little bit of time to get this chain on, but we pretty much got this thing the right size. Took this assembly off, put the chain on, so now we've got some good connectivity here. Tighten this sprocket in place, and that's going to be it for today. It's cold out. Alright, an up close and personal look here. Here is our controller. Here is our motor. I don't have all the pieces I want. I want to waterproof this. But this did come with a few pieces we can use. Alright, so this is our controller. This is actually what's controlling our motor here. And we've got, it's really easy. It's a 6-plug to a 6-plug. So nothing too fancy. Just get that guy connected. On the other side is a 3-phase motor. So we've got 3 colors. We're going to line those up, tighten them down. This is going to be our battery. And then there's a few other pieces over here we need for the throttle. And I'll show you that throttle here shortly. That's going to just be hanging for a little bit. Got to get a better game plan on how to connect that. But the throttle is just going to be too big for the handles. Not a huge deal. We can attach it in another way, and I'll show you what I'm thinking. But let's get this connected and see if we can get some power to the motor. Alright, we're going to attach these guys. Pretty straightforward again. We're just going yellow to yellow. And something just suddenly started smelling like stink bug. Guess that means I don't have COVID because my nose works. Close that up. It's not waterproof. Water can get in there. We'll have to put this guy back here. Cables are too short to go anywhere else. This was where I was planning on storing the battery. And we've got a few things here. We've got our ignition, so key operated, and we've got our monitor for our battery. So this is a digital display. I like this. Downside is the holes on this. These are too small for what I have on the David. What I can do is I can get a smaller pipe, put it in here, put it in off the rear there, cut it, and mount this on there, and then stick the other pipe inside the handle for the David Bradley. And now I'm just kind of holding it like that. It'd work perfect. And I could still put that throttle right there as well. Might be what I do. Again, prototyping. So we're gonna do it with what we got and figure out what we want to do. All right, so we lucked out here. We got decent drawings. We've got our 3-speed here. Looks like it's our black, yellow, and blue, which I hope that goes to this one because this is our 3-speed. So let's connect that up. So that gives us our 1, 2, 3. 1, 2's in the middle, 3's on the side. And next, we've got, where are those cables at? Let's take a look. So we've got our throttle and the ignition lock. Interestingly enough, the ignition lock is not the same wire. Don't like that. What's the throttle on this one? Let's take a look. They show I still don't know how to. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a 2-wire. Haha, there are 3 wires going into it, but there are only 2 wires. That explains my dilemma. So this 3 should go to 3. That's pretty straightforward. And this is going to go, I believe, to our indicator or to, oh, no, probably electric lock. Let's take a look. Looks like a yellow, I'm sorry, that's really hard to see. An orange and red. And which one's that? The electrical lock. Okay, so that should be good here then. Great. Bring that back. We're going to wrap that out of the way for the time being. Put this on here. Last thing really is our battery. Very cool. We're almost there. Now the battery is a little bit of a dilemma here. We've got terminals on here as well. What I can do actually is I could connect there for the time being. But what I'm going to end up doing is I'm just going to make a jump from here to the battery using some wire and electrical tape it until I get the terminals that I want. So I ordered some XT60s to match the XT60 on the battery. I'll show you what that looks like. An XT60 is this yellow socket. That's connected into a Dean's plug on the bottom. But that XT60, give you a better look on that. So that XT60 looks like that. It's not square on both sides. It's kind of a pyramid on one side, square on the other. And that XT60 was actually connected into a Dean's plug. They're not really good for holding in long term. You can use just a Dean's plug too. But I'm going to make this an XT60 over here on controller itself, we're going to change this to an XT60. So we're going to go chop those off, drop on a male plug, solder those in place. So we can just disconnect this and long term, maybe use this battery in a few other areas as well. This is the battery itself. This type of battery is actually used for e-bikes. So since it's used for e-bikes, you gotta strap onto a bicycle somehow. Oh, and it's perfect for us because we get some straps, we can strap this guy in place. We can slowly strap ourselves in here. Remember, prototyping. It's my excuse for unpretty. But if you ask my wife, nothing looks pretty when I'm done with it. It's all practical. Hopefully you can still see. Good. Right, got enough space there. Just barely enough space to squeeze this guy in. That's not moving anywhere. Cool. What do you think? Think we're in good shape. Take a close look. Come over on this side. Next thing here, scan everything you're not supposed to do. We're gonna do it anyways. We're going to put this flying splice in. You ever talk to someone, they're going to tell you, flying splice is terrible, never do that. Alright, don't do it in your house. Definitely don't do this in your house. So what we'll end up doing here is we'll replace this. But I really want to test this out and see if we're working. Check it out. No battery power. Okay, so we ended up getting this working. Ended up being that this controller was bad. We got a new one. And what else we did since I started taking this, we got a quick disconnect. This is the XT60s. And so we've got our hot and neutral wires. So they're coming from here. Got rid of that electrical tape job. So now if we need to disconnect the battery, it's very straightforward. We just disconnect here, take the battery. I do have that other Simplicity that I'm considering doing something similar with it. So I can just reuse the battery. I'll have to get another controller for that system, but pretty straightforward. Otherwise, one of the things I noticed here was my motor's going the wrong direction. So we have to, what we're going to try and do is we're going to splice the wires, reverse the phases, and hopefully that allows us to go forward. In the meantime, what I ended up doing was taking our reverse plug, putting a jumper in there, so that's what that little wire is, to send the signal to go in reverse. Downside is you got one gear in reverse. So we don't want just one gear, we want the variety. I want to be able to use the throttle, 3-speed, everything else. So we'll rewire this, or rather not really rewire, but splice those wires. And that will hopefully allow our chain to go in the direction we need it to. All right, first thing up here, we're going to disconnect our battery. So now we're safe to work on this. This is our Hall connector. So this, I believe it's the, let me just double check here before I say anything. I wrote it down so I'd remember. So we're going to be switching the blue and yellow wires. We're going to splice those together. And then when we're in here, we're going to change. This is going to change our polarity. And we're going to switch green and blue here. And so yellow and blue on the small one. Double check one more time so I don't jack it up. So now, down here, we are going. Again, my wonderful diagram. We're just switching our big green and our blue cables. This is what I was saying earlier. So we put a quick disconnect, positive and the neutral and hot wires. So now we can just quick disconnect that. Very easy. Then I got the battery. It's easy to disconnect the battery in the future. If I need to take it inside charge, anything else like that. I guess second battery, easy enough. Forgot one step. So we'll cover this. And then we also want to disconnect. This is our jumper. I'll show you what that looks like. Really straightforward, just a wire shoved in here. It's a signal jumper. So nothing fancy. We'll pull that out. And now we'll test it out. Fingers crossed, Dad.
What?
Yeah, we do. All right, so looks like pulley got a little loose. We'll mount this over here eventually, but watch. So you turn the key to get the battery power. Watch. I turn this just like a motorcycle. And the motor starts spinning. So the downside is, yeah. You wanna try and turn that?
Yeah. Can you connect it somehow so it's not hard?
Nope, I can't right now. So no, just hold it. I'll control it if you want to turn it.
Yeah, you can.
No, you turn this, is what I'm saying. So just hold it with two hands, and then just turn it.
Okay, let's do this.
There you go, just not quite as much. Good.
Yeah.
Hold it. There you go.
I mean, like a four-wheeler.
Right, like a four-wheeler. It's called a cultivator. hope you enjoyed this video or found it helpful. If you did, please subscribe below. It really helps us out. If you live within our delivery range, please visit our website and sign up today. We'll deliver fresh eggs and produce to your doorstep once a week. If you don't live within our delivery area, please share this with your friends or family or anyone that you know that may appreciate what we're trying to accomplish with regenerative organic farming. You can also support us by purchasing merchandise. A portion of those sales go to us and help us get our message out into the world. Again, this is Tyler Buck of Sensible Soils. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you have a great day.